The deep spaceship Nova Reach moved slowly through a quiet star sector. Its lights blinked like fireflies in the dark. Inside the ship, new mission teams were being formed. The control room buzzed with soft voices, blinking screens, and the hum of data flowing. Ethan, a human male in his early 30s, stood beside the mission board. Tall, calm, and quiet, he had been on many dangerous missions before, but this time his orders were different. Not only was he being sent to an unexplored ruin on a nearby planet, he had been paired with a Turna warrior. Her name was Vera. Turna were not like humans. They were strong, tall, and powerful. Vera was no exception, nearly 7 feet tall, her body built for battle. Her skin was a shimmering silver gray, her muscles hard as steel. She had glowing eyes and sharp features, and walked like someone who had never been defeated. When she entered the mission hall, everyone stopped talking. She didn't look at anyone, just at the screen, then at Ethan. "You're my partner?" she asked in a low voice. Ethan nodded. "Yes, we're being sent to planet Ravos 9. There's an old ruin. Command wants it explored." Vera crossed her arms. "They paired me with a soft human. I work alone." Ethan didn't respond. He just walked past her, checked the gear list, and said, "You'll find I'm not that soft." Vera raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. Their dropship landed on Ravos 9 the next day. The planet's surface was rocky and cold, with gray skies and thin air. The ruins were near a cliffside, surrounded by thick stone walls and broken towers. Strange symbols covered the wall, signs of a lost alien race. Inside the ruin, it was quiet. Dust floated through the air like tiny ghosts. Ethan and Vera worked in silence for hours. She scanned the stone walls while Ethan marked the ground with sensors. It was clear they didn't trust each other yet. That night, they camped near the ruins. A small fire flickered between them. Vera sat on a rock, staring at the flames. Then she spoke softly, almost to herself. "My body was built for war. My kind says I'm not suitable for partnership. I'm too big, too strong, not made for love or breeding." Ethan looked at her carefully. "Who told you that?" "My own people, and some humans I met. I'm not soft. I break things. I scare people." He stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "Maybe those people were scared because you're powerful. But that doesn't mean you're unlovable." Vera laughed bitterly. "You don't know me." Ethan smiled slightly. "No, but I know people who hide pain behind strength." Suddenly, a loud beep came from Ethan's scanner. Something was moving underground, below the ruins, large and slow. He stood up fast. "There's something alive down there." Vera jumped to her feet. "Weapons ready?" "Yes," Ethan said, "but we don't know what it is yet." They both looked at the ruin entrance. A soft rumble rolled through the ground. Dust fell from the stones. Something was waking up. Vera grinned slightly. "Now, this is something I understand." Ethan and Vera moved into the ruin together. Side by side, the walls seemed to shift in the shadows. Strange lights flickered on the floor. The deeper they went, the more the structure looked alive. Ethan glanced at her. "Still wish you worked." "Alone?" Vera didn't answer, but she didn't walk ahead of him anymore. They moved together, and for the first time, she didn't feel like a weapon. She felt like someone worth standing beside. Asterisk. The ruin trembled as Ethan and Vera stepped deeper into the stone corridor. Strange blue lights glowed faintly along the walls. The deeper they went, the more the air changed. It felt thick, like something ancient had just started breathing again. Ethan checked his scanner again. The signal was stronger now. Whatever it was moving slowly directly under them. "I think something is waking up," Ethan said. Vera nodded, gripping her large plasma blade. "Let it wake. We'll send it back to sleep. Ethan smiled slightly. You always like fighting? She glanced at him. It's the only thing I was ever praised for. Suddenly, the floor beneath them gave way. It didn't crack, it opened like a trap designed thousands of years ago. Before either of them could move, the ground vanished and they fell. They crashed into a lower level, dust exploding around them. Ethan groaned and pushed himself up. You okay? Vera was already on her feet, scanning the dark room. Fine. Just bruises. But the moment Ethan tried to stand, he winced. His ankle twisted when he landed. Vera was beside him in a second. Don't move, she said quickly. She knelt and examined his boot, removing it carefully. You've torn something. Ethan hissed. I've had worse. I'll carry you if I have to. He looked up, surprised. You don't have to. I want to, she said simply. I'm not going to leave you. For the first time, Ethan saw something soft in her eyes. Not weakness care. They were. Trapped underground. No way back up. The scanner was damaged. Communication was cut off. The room was dark, the walls alive with symbols glowing in soft green. We need to find another way out, Ethan said. Vera lifted him easily, putting his arm around her shoulder. Lean on me. They walked slowly through the stone halls. The place felt like a maze built to test the mind. Whispers echoed off the walls, even though no one was speaking. This place, Ethan whispered. It's watching us. Vera didn't answer. She looked ahead, her grip tight on her blade. Then they reached a chamber round. Silent, full of light. In the center was a floating shape, a massive orb, glowing with energy. Around it, on the walls, were carvings. Vera walked closer. She stared at the images, her eyes wide. It's showing. Breeding rituals, but not just physical, emotional bonding. Protection, connection. Ethan frowned. Why here? Why show us this? She looked at him. Maybe this place wasn't just for science. Maybe it was for choosing life. Who is worthy? Who understands love, not just strength? Vera touched the wall. Suddenly the room changed. The orb lowered. Light wrapped around them. For a moment, Ethan's pain vanished. They both felt warmth, like something old had accepted them. Later, they found a narrow tunnel leading upward. It was tight, hard to walk, but it was a way out. Vera helped Ethan the entire time. She never complained. You're more than muscle. You know, Ethan said quietly as they climbed. She looked at him. And you're more than just another human. You didn't run. You listened. They reached the top after hours of climbing. The night sky above looked brighter than before. As they walked back to camp, Ethan limped, leaning on her. You said you're not made for breeding, he said softly. I'm not, she replied. You're wrong, he said. You're made for something more powerful than breeding. You're made for bonding. She didn't reply. But her hand reached for his, and this time, she didn't let go. The night air on Ravos 9 was cold and dry. Vera and Ethan sat close to the small fire near their camp. The stars above looked sharper now, almost like they were watching. But the silence between the two was not heavy anymore. It felt calm. Vera cleaned Ethan's ankle gently. Her large hands, built for war, now moved with surprising care. You should be resting, she said quietly. Ethan shook his head. Not tired. You're always trying to be strong. He smiled. I could say the same about you. She looked up at him. I don't try. I just ... Don't know how to be anything else. Ethan leaned back, staring into the stars. You know, strength isn't just about what you fight. Sometimes it's about what you protect. Vera didn't answer. Immediately, her eyes remained on his foot, but her mind was far away. I never protected anything, she finally whispered. Just followed orders. Just destroyed. And now? Ethan asked softly. Vera met his eyes. Now, I want to protect something. Or someone. The next morning, the scanners were still silent, but Ethan noticed something strange. Vera. Look, the edge of the ruin where they had fallen was glowing faintly again. The ground around it had cracks like something inside was trying to rise. Something followed us out. Ethan said Vira grabbed her weapon instantly. It's not over. But this time, Ethan placed a hand on her arm. Wait, let's try scanning it differently. They used the ancient device they found underground. It pulsed once, then again, and displayed something unexpected. It's not a weapon, Ethan said slowly. It's alive, but not aggressive. It's watching you. Vera looked confused. Me? It reacted when you touched the wall back there. Maybe it saw something in you. Later, while Ethan rested in the shade, Vera walked alone toward the edge of the ruin. She stood before the glowing ground and spoke softly. I don't know why you follow me, but I don't want to fight you. A soft hum answered her. Then, without warning, light emerged from the cracks and formed a small floating shape like a child's drawing in the air. A memory dot, it showed an ancient female of Vera's species, being embraced by a human-like figure. Vera's heart tightened. This wasn't the first time someone like her had bonded with someone like Ethan before. She returned to the camp in silence. Ethan looked up. What happened? She sat beside him. Her voice was soft. That ruin, it's not just a ruin. It's a memory keeper, a place of choice, of bonding. It saw something in us. Ethan watched her carefully. You're afraid? Vera nodded. I always believed I was made for war. Nothing else. But now, Ethan reached out and gently held her hand. Now, you don't have to be alone. She didn't pull away. That night, she sat closer to him. Their hands stayed together. No words needed. The fire crackled. The stars burned bright above them. And deep within Vera's chest, something changed. It wasn't fear anymore. It was hope. Vera awoke before the first rays of sunlight touched the edge of the sky. Something was different. Her chest felt tight. Her heartbeat was faster. Her skin tingled beneath the surface, as if energy moved through her veins in waves. She stood up quietly and walked away from the camp, her breathing heavy and slow. Ethan was still sleeping. She didn't want him to see her like this. At the edge of the cliff, she gripped a rock to steady herself. Her body felt too warm, too alive. Her muscles ached, not with pain, but with something unfamiliar. Not injury, not exhaustion. Change. Far beneath her, the ruins pulsed faintly again, light flowing through the cracks like veins under skin. She remembered the memory she had seen. A female like her, standing beside a human, and something ancient had accepted them, as if the ruins were waiting for them to return. Vera touched her stomach lightly. She didn't know why, but something deep inside whispered, it has already begun. Back at the camp, Ethan woke up and noticed her missing. He stood slowly, careful not to strain his healing ankle, and followed the trail she left behind. He found her standing at the cliff's edge, her back to him. You okay? He asked gently. She turned around. Her face was calm, but her eyes were not the same. They glowed brighter. I feel strange, she said. Ethan walked closer. Strange how? My body is shifting. I've never felt this before. Like something inside me is waking up. Something new. Ethan looked into her eyes and nodded. Maybe it's not something bad. I don't know what it is, Ethan, she said softly. But when I touched that place underground, it marked me. I can feel it. Marked you? She nodded. Not a scar. Not a brand. It's inside, as if it saw who I was, and decided to rewrite me. Ethan didn't look afraid. He stepped close and placed his hand gently on her cheek. I don't know what's happening to you, Vera, but I trust you. I trust who you are even now. Her voice cracked. You shouldn't. I was never meant for this. Not for touch, not for closeness. I don't know how to be gentle, but you are, he said quietly. Every time you protect me, every time you look at me like I matter, that is gentleness. Vera swallowed hard. And if what's happening to me isn't safe, then we face it together. The moment stretched. The air between them grew warmer. Her hand found his, not with force, but with care. Suddenly, a loud pulse came from the scanner in their tent. Vera and Ethan ran back. The device blinked. Biosync detected. Host bond activated. They looked at each other. What does that mean? Ethan asked. Vera stared at the screen. The ruin, it didn't just scan us. It connected us. My body is reacting to yours. You mean? She took a deep breath. Something is growing inside me. It's not just energy. It's life. Ethan froze for a second, then reached for her hand again. You're not alone, he said firmly. Not anymore. That night, they didn't sleep far apart. They slept side by side, not as partners in a mission, but as something more. The fire had burned low. Morning came with heavy clouds over Ravos 9 and a wind that whispered across the broken ground. Vera stood near the ruin's edge again, but this time she wasn't just watching. She was listening. Something inside the ancient place was calling to her. The connection between her and Ethan had awakened more than emotion. Her body was changing, but so was her mind. Her senses were sharper, her thoughts clearer. She could feel the ruins pulsing beneath her boots, like a heart. Ethan, she said calmly, we need to go back inside. He looked up from the scanner. Back into the ruins? She nodded. There's something it didn't show us yet. Something important. You think it has answers? No, she said. I think it has warnings. They returned to the hole where they had first fallen. The surface around it had widened, now shaped like an open eye. Carefully, they climbed down a different path, a slope newly revealed overnight. The walls lit up as they passed, glowing green and gold. Deeper inside, they found a chamber they hadn't seen before. It was shaped like a dome, and on its walls were glowing carvings. But these weren't like the others. These showed destruction, war, collapse. Vera stepped closer. The images changed as she approached, reacting to her presence. A great alien figure stood with a human-like mate. Between them, light, hope, life. But surrounding them, fear, anger, chaos. What is this? Ethan asked quietly. Vera answered in a near whisper. It's history and warning. The ruin had kept records of rare pairings between species like hers and his. It showed love. And what came after? Some unions created peace. Others awakened powers that couldn't be controlled. Ethan stared at the images. It's saying this shouldn't happen. Vera turned to him. No, it's saying it's dangerous, but not impossible. We're not the first. But we must choose what we become. Her voice trembled. If something inside me grows, if it's not just emotion, but something new, are you ready for that? Ethan stepped closer and placed his hand over hers. I didn't come here to fall for a warrior alien, but now I wouldn't change a thing. A light blinked on the far wall. A new door opened, one they hadn't seen before. They entered the next chamber slowly. In the center was a stone platform with a glowing crystal above it. Inside the crystal floated a shape small, curled, like an unborn child, but not human. Not tRNA. Something in between. Vera's breath caught. It's a memory. A hybrid. One that was born. Ethan reached for her shoulder. So it's possible. She stared at the crystal. It's more than possible. It's real. But the question is, did it survive? Suddenly, the room dimmed. The walls flashed red. A voice spoke not in words, but in thoughts. You have awakened the path. Life may grow. But all life brings choice. Vera backed away slightly. Ethan steadied her. Will your love bring creation or destruction? The voice faded. They left the ruin in silence. Back at the camp, the sky had darkened. Storms were forming. Not just in the weather, but in the stars. Something beyond Ravos 9 had noticed the energy spike. Ethan watched the clouds swirl. Do you feel that? He asked. Vera nodded. Yes, something is coming. And it's not from this planet. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her body ached again, but differently. As if something inside her had made its choice, not just to exist, but to live. And beside her, Ethan remained close. No longer just her partner in a mission. Now, her protector. Her anchor. Her mate. Asterisk, the sky above Ravos 9 had turned black. Not with clouds, but with ships. Dark alien cruisers hovered above the ruins like vultures waiting to feed. The symbol on their hulls didn't belong to any peaceful alliance. It was a war mark. Vera and Ethan stood at the edge of their camp, watching as lights blinked on the enemy ships. They followed the energy signal, Ethan said. They must have been watching that ruin for centuries. Vera nodded slowly. And now, they think we've taken something. They're not wrong, Ethan said, placing a hand gently on her lower back. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. A loud thunder rolled across the sky, not natural. A warning shot fired into the mountains nearby. A voice came through their comms. Cold, sharp. You have activated a forbidden site. Surrender the hybrid signal, or be destroyed. Viri looked down at her stomach. She could feel it now, not just energy, not just change. Life, not real. Growing. Connected. Ethan looked at her. We're not surrendering. She nodded firmly. Then we fight. But they were just 2.2 against ships in the sky. 2 against trained soldiers. 2 against an empire that feared what they might become. Ethan looked at the ruin. There's power in there, more than just memories. Vera's eyes widened. You think we can use it? Maybe. If it chose us once. Maybe it will again. They ran into the ruin. Lights flared around them. The walls pulsed like before, but now brighter. Faster. The same voice from before returned. You are not the first to love across species, but you are the first to fight for it. Will you give up your life to protect what has begun? Vera stepped forward. Yes, Ethan followed, without question. The chamber opened. Light surrounded them both. Symbols burned into the air, then into their skin, not as pain, but as a shield. A gift. Vera felt her strength double. Her muscles tightened, her senses sharpened, but her heart remained soft alive. Ethan stood taller too. The pain in his ankle vanished. His body, once human alone, now carried energy that didn't belong to Earth. They were more now, not hybrid, but bonded. Together, outside. The enemy landed. Dozens of dark-armored figures moved toward the camp with weapons raised. They expected 2 scared beings, maybe running, maybe hiding. Instead, they saw a woman taller than any of them, her silver skin glowing with ancient power, and a human beside her, calm and unshaken, his eyes burning like the stars above. The first wave attacked. Vera didn't hold back. She moved like lightning, no longer just a warrior, but a protector, a mother. She fought not to destroy, but to defend what was growing inside her. And Ethan stood by her side, shielding her back, fighting with a strength no longer fully human. The attackers fell one by one, not from hate, but from love's unbreakable Will. By the time the enemy ships pulled back, the sky was quiet again. Smoke rose from the burned ground. The ruins still glowed. Ethan and Vera stood alone, their clothes torn, bodies bruised, but alive. She looked at him, breathing hard. You still think I wasn't made for breeding? He smiled. Even his blood ran down his cheek. You weren't made to be owned. You were made to choose. She touched her stomach, where life now pulsed clearly. I chose you, she whispered. And I'll choose you, Ethan said, every time. That night, they didn't sleep. They lay beneath the stars, holding each other, their future uncertain, but their bond stronger than any weapon, any war, any ruin. The galaxy would change now, not through war, not through command, but because one alien woman believed she wasn't meant for love, and one human man showed her she always was. Asterisk.